Okay, I haven't done one of these for a long time. I'm excited. So it's nice to be back in front of this camera for sure. I'm excited to have more of these discussion videos going on. I've taken I haven't taken any time out of it. I just haven't had time to put aside for this. So you would have noticed that on my YouTube channel, these videos haven't been coming out as much. But it was about time that I did one, and this is for a very important discussion to be had here. Because recently I had a very unfortunate occurrence at an event that I was speaking at. So it's an abuse prevention conference, fantastically put together. Over 100 people there, from people from other charities, people from local companies, people who support that charity's work. The charity are doing incredible work, and I actually feel a little bit sad for them that this happened. I feel like they would have been very embarrassed. The whole audience were shocked that this happened, and I posted about it on my social media. Now, I'm going to get into what actually happened, of course, but I just want to throw this out there that I felt actually after I'd posted what happened and it got such an incredible emotive response from people. People were angry, people were frustrated, lots of people were commenting. I actually felt a little bit sorry for the event, because earlier that day I'd posted that I was at the event, and then later on in the day after this thing happened, I posted how terrible this thing was. So I hope that it didn't bring any shade on their event. They did a fantastic event, and if anybody from that organisation are listening, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that, but I've got to post about this journey. I wanted to express what I felt whilst this man asked that question. Right, so let's get into this. My presentation, I had 30 minutes. I had a 30-minute slot on stage. I did my presentation, and then we went into the Q&A session of the section. And the audience were asked to ask for the microphone, put their hand up and ask for the microphone if they wanted to ask a question. And the microphone was getting passed around, and it was being taken to the back of the room because a gentleman had his hand up. And then a member of the audience at the very front completely interrupted that process that we'd all agreed on with the microphone and came at me with a question. But they came at me with fire. It was like they were angry in some way. That's how it felt at the time. And they shouted out, "But are you ever going to get over it and move on?" And at the time, I was so shocked that it just come out of nowhere. It was a mixture of everything. Of course, that question is so, makes you feel so angry, frustrated, saddened. It's every emotion. That question brings every emotion. But the fact that it was delivered to me with such fire and like he had broken the rules with the microphone thing, and it's like it just hit me for six. So now I'm on stage, and there's 120 people looking at me, and most of them being like, "Oh my God, did he just ask that question?" I want to just spend some moments here unpicking this, because for anyone that is in these circles, abuse prevention circles, trauma-informed circles, maybe they're from a professional background or they're fellow people that talk about this, we all know that's a very inappropriate question to ask. Now, at this conference, there were people from all walks of life, people from solicitor companies and insurance companies that were supporting the charity. So I feel like I want to give this man the benefit of the doubt. He was about 70 years old. He comes from a different era. He probably comes from the era of suck it up and get on with it. You know, just keep moving forward. He probably comes from that era. He's probably never heard this conversation before. And after I delivered my presentation, it probably struck him so hard that, you know, if I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, which I feel like we should also be open to, he probably was so taken back from what I just talked about. He may have felt actually quite sorry for me and was like, well, subconsciously, maybe he thought, if he can get over this, then we're all good. And this horrific thing that happened to this man when he was a child, he'll probably feel better that was allowed to happen. If I say to him, yeah, I will get over it and move on, or I have got over it and moved on. So now I'm on stage and I'm completely struck by this question. My heart is racing now. I have actually made a video, an Instagram reel, a short about this before. Right, because I know I've been asked this question before in other circumstances, but never in front of like a live audience like this. And my reaction to that question is, if we all forgot about it and moved on, then when these people that are committing this abuse come for your children, you're going to be wondering why we all just forgot about it and moved on. Right, so that's my response that I've got. I've got it ready for that question. But in those moments, something in me said, don't react with that. Don't go for that. Don't draw that response. Because what I'm doing then is I'm pointing the finger right back at this guy. Now, when I posted about this on my platforms, everyone was like, you should have gone back for the guy. But I've spoken to a lot of friends and people who support my work and have been on this journey with me about this. And there's many problems with going straight back at this guy. First of all, it turns into a personal thing. He could actually then come back at me with something else and throw me more off balance. And it becomes like we start having this battle in the middle of this conference. I then lose my audience. I'm trying my best to be a professional about this subject, and all of that then goes out the window. Nothing really good is going to come out of this. And I'm not trying to get one over on this man because he asked a question, because it could actually be his general curiosity, but he is so out of these circles, he didn't realise that is not a question that you answer. Sorry, a question that you ask. So, how did I respond? So I responded, and unfortunately, the talk was not recorded because I really want to watch back how I responded because I want to learn from this. And I responded, I stuttered heavily. I wasn't sure. I was scrambling for an answer. And I remember saying something like, I don't think you can ever get over something that happened to you so that was so significant. And then I went to continue, and then he interrupted me again. And he goes, yeah, but are you ever going to stop being so angry about it? Right. And now we don't give him any benefit of the doubt. Right. Now I'm angry. And now I see that you know exactly what you're saying. And actually you just don't. You're not thinking. You got no empathy for me standing on the stage. And now the whole audience, you could feel the vibe in the audience had just completely changed. It had gone silent. It was like you could hear a pin drop. People just couldn't believe what was happening. And I'm pretty sure my heart goes out to the organisers of this conference because they probably couldn't also believe what was happening. And I responded with, no. I'm not going to stop being angry about this because I don't think anyone can be if somebody exploited them when they were a child for their sexual fantasy. I said something along those lines. And then once I'd finished that sentence, the bloke who had the microphone at the back of the event then came in with his question. And that showed me that everybody could see that this was not a good situation. So thank you to that man at the back of the audience for coming in, because he could see that this was going nowhere. So it completely thrown me off guard. But now I know, as I do more of these speaking events, I did 6 in October, depending on when you're watching this, October, the month just gone, and I got a couple more booked for this month. After speaking to lots of people about how I'm going to respond to this in the future, because I'm pretty sure that this question's going to come up again, or I'm going to have genuine people in the audience wondering, oh, I wonder if this is something you can ever get over and move on with. So it's almost like I want to start taking all these lessons that I'm learning from these speaking events and start implementing the information within my presentation. It's actually a performance, but I like to say performance better, because it is. I'm performing the story on the stage. And if I can get all of these questions that people, I feel, are common questions of curiosity coming from a good place within the performance, then it starts to build some depth to it. So how do I respond to, are you ever going to get over it and move on? It's a very triggering question. Why does that trigger me, by the way? It's because I feel like people aren't taking me seriously. It's because I've taken it personally. I feel like people aren't taking me seriously and understanding the seriousness of what we're talking about. I've come up with a comparison because I wanted to make the answer relatable to that person. And the comparison that I thought of was, if someone had been in a car accident, and it was because a drunk driver hit them and they've had to have their leg amputated as a result of that, and they now go across the country speaking and raising awareness on drink driving and the effects of it, would you ever, as an audience member, ask that person, but are you going to get over it, ever going to get over it and move on? It's not a question you would ask that person. And I feel like that comparison is good, because it gives everybody can sit there and relate to losing your leg because you got hit by a drunk driver. I feel like that's a good comparison. So if I'd come back at that man and said that, then maybe he would have been like, yeah, actually, I understand what he's talking about here. So, because I want that person to feel like, and you know what, my camera battery is just about to run out. Can you believe this? The battery on this camera is starting to lose time very quickly because it's a budget camera and I don't have enough money to upgrade it. Okay, I'm just going to keep talking until it goes off, and then it goes off. I want to try to get back at that person, and that person to be like, I've never thought about it like that before. And that's what I feel like that comparison may give. I also feel like for me to just turn back to him and say, actually, you know what? No, I'm never going to be able to get over something that happened in my childhood that's so significant. But now what I'm doing is I've learned, I'm trying to make good out of it for the future generations, so that the risk of them being abused by somebody is less. I'm trying to make change. So it's in my past. So no, I'm not going to be able to get over it completely, because it's a significant moment in my childhood that's in my past, and now I'm looking forward. So maybe that would be a gentle, empathetic, kind response that gives that man something to think about, puts it in some form that he can relate to, and actually gives the audience some sense of that was a good answer and he handled it correctly. Now I'm trying to improve my performance and my reaction in this Q&A session as much as I can. With every event that I am learning. I've just got a new booking for a school. They're going to bring me in to speak with their teachers, and if they like that, they're potentially going to bring me then to show the parents, and then if everybody's a thumbs up, we're going to go for the students. So these are huge moves, and to get in front of live audiences is a massive thing. And this conference taught me a lot, and it really unsettled me for some time afterwards. But that is the journey that I'm on. It's going to be full of these challenges. It's going to be full of these things that hit me in the face and put me on my knees. But they're the things that I'm going to learn from, and they're the things that are going to help me improve. Thank you for sticking by. I'm going to stop this video now before my battery runs out. Keep doing more of these on my YouTube channel. Stick with me. This is going to be an adventure. Thank you.